Welcome to this video about the third round of the Istanbul Chess Olympiad. The third round has seen some more closer matches in terms of rating, but it still has been very much a matchup between favorites and underdogs. And the favorites won all their matches, I think. Maybe there's been the odd 2-2, the tie, but all in all there haven't been big upsets in any way. So what I'm going to present you for round 3 is one game fragment, which is already on the board here, between ex-world champion Vladimir Kramnik and fan favorite Alexei Shirov, who's always in for a big fight. This is this end game that I'm going to show you, and then I'll also show two complete games. Both played the French defense. This is also why this video is titled how it is. It shows pretty nicely how to handle the French as black in two very different lines, and I think it's enjoyable not only for fans of the French defense but also for general interest. It's good to watch the games. I'll come to these games later, but now want to have a look at this game. As you see, Kramnik against Shirov. It's a pretty high caliber fight already. The Russian team played the Latvian team, and in fact didn't really manage to get a big win or anything. It was just 3 draws and Jakovenko winning on board 4. This is also one of the games I'm going to show. This game here, Kramnik against Shirov, I reached this position on move 56. Kramnik playing white, and it's his move. And here in this position, Kramnik actually took on f6. He took black's pawn here. It's a very sharp endgame where you see that white's c-pawn is very far advanced and can actually promote in this position. It's covered by the rook. But black has got 2 dangerous pass pawn also, and probably can take another one. So this is pretty much a pure calculation endgame. You need to calculate as far and precise as you can. Note that the times are bogus. I took them from ICC this time, hoping that they are somewhat useful, but as you can see, Shirov on -6, well, he didn't lose on time. It doesn't make any sense, just ignore the times. In fact, Kramnik, as mentioned, took here. And this actually easy to tell if you look at this with the computer engine. It's a draw, and it ended in a draw. I can show you how it ended afterwards. In fact, the move you first think about, this simple promotion, is winning. But he didn't play this, and I can understand why, because you can so easily calculate this calculate this wrongly, and then you might even lose. It's very easy to lose against such an avalanche of pawns, but the lines are pretty nice, so I want to show them. White promotes. Of course, black has no choice. He needs to take the queen. Rook takes. And now here's a big parting of the ways. Black can play various moves here. Let's start with the pawn advances, the immediate pawn pushes. So h3. On h3, white has the very important move rook c3, attacking both b3 and h3, and it's also with check. h3 is hanging with check. This is the main point here. So he threatens to basically take both pawns, and this could lead to something like this. Check here, takes, and white is winning. The big point is also that white's king is very quick in returning, and stopping the coming g pawn. Or for instance, rook takes here. It's something like this, and it's very easy. So after rook c3, this is relatively simple. So h3 is also not the toughest try. What else could black do? Of course, he could just grab another pawn, and then white immediately needs to use his king, going this way or that way, so that the king can stop the pawns. For instance, h3 again, and now this important move again, attacking with check the h pawn. And here after g4, this is the point I think where Kramnik probably miscalculated something, or I'm not sure. It's really hard to tell. It's obviously very complicated. g4, and here white needs to make the absolutely stunning move rook c1, and this is simply a computer move. The point is, if black now advances, it looks very dangerous. But something like this has got this point, so that white takes with check. So it's obviously very dangerous looking for white, but all the tactics seem to work in his favor. We can also look at move 57 here. After this, we can also look at b2, rook b8, and now black trying to set the pawns in motion. Then it's really important that you don't take anywhere or something, that immediately you get to the king side with the king, and then it's relatively easy. Something like this. White's king just controls the pawns, and the b pawn, of course, will be taken by the rook. So this is fairly easy. I think maybe the most complicated idea would be if black doesn't pushes any pawns, but tries to use the king immediately. Then it's then you need to use your own king instantly, not capture anything, but just go all the way back with a white king, and you're just in time to stop everything. Yeah, I think he must have miscalculated something. But another point which you really need to be aware of, this is a match situation, and it's also notable that boards 2 and 3 played a draw. Jakovenko won his game, so if Kramnik for some reason plays c8 queen here and miscalculated in some way, and maybe even lose, then they will just draw the match. So a draw is perfectly alright to win the match. So maybe he was unsure about some line and just said, okay, let's play it safe. In the game he took on f6, and this led to a very typical endgame, where now the h pawn is simply too quick. And we have got the bare kings at the end, so draw. Yeah, it was an interesting endgame. If you have some time on your hands, put this up on the board and try to analyze it a bit yourself. It's very interesting to check out the various continuations. Alright, so this was Kramnik against Shirov. I want to now show you the other two games. just a second. Need to pull them up here. First one being in the match, just a second. And I also change the perspective here to see it from Black's point of view. This is the match between the Faroe Islands and Azerbaijan. The Faroe Islands, small islands in the, oh man, I should have looked it up before. It's the North Sea. Alright, okay, pretty small islands, but they have 3 international masters. I'm not sure if they are really born in on these islands or somehow migrated there or something. But they have a decent team with 3 IMs. So, but Azerbaijan obviously is a tough nut to crack. So, we have this matchup, International Master Ziskar, 2-4-60 against Radjabov, world's number 3 at the moment, I guess, or maybe 4, something like this. Alright, so we have e4, and Radjabov surprisingly plays the French defense. The French was his main defense some years ago. I mean, I don't know, 2004-5, around that. That time he even beat Kasparov with the French once, when he was really just a kid, I think. At age 15 or 16 he beat Kasparov with the French. Okay, but he now played the French, and I was wondering why that is, and did have a quick look at the white players' repertoire, sort of trying to emulate what Radjabov was thinking, and I recognized that in earlier games the white player always played 2d3 in this position, so he's going for the King's Indian attack. So it seems that Radjabov didn't mind to play this opening, and expecting this move, maybe planning, I don't know, there's a huge amount of choice here, c5, d5, and it's usually a strategical game where the better player has pretty good chances to outplay his opponent. So this was maybe the idea, but in the game, he played just d4, and we have a normal kind of French. So this gamble didn't really work, but of course Radjabov can play the normal French line, so to say. Also, he also plays e4 as white, so he knows what's happening. So white plays the advanced French. We have these normal moves. Here black has a choice between a couple of moves, and he plays bishop d7 also. Queen b6 is fine, or the knight moves to h6 or e7. But bishop d7 is a good line, obviously. And here white plays a3, a move that I personally always thought to be somewhat inaccurate. But anyway, the white player plays it. It's the main move on queen b6. So if you consider this move, then a3 is actually the main line, with the idea that this b4 advance somewhat blunts the effect of the queen. In fact, after a3 here, after bishop d7, a3, black's queen is not on b6, and here black is very flexible with his moves. He can play all kinds of moves. He can advance here, or let's put it on the board, sort of trying to use this weakened square, or he can attack the center immediately. There's really some choice here. What Radjabov played is also interesting. He played rook c8, and this is very useful move in the French in general, because the c-file is bound to get opened at some point, and it has some immediate idea also, especially against the move played in the game. Bishop d3, very natural move. Takes, and now queen b6 anyway. So it's an attack on the d4 pawn, and that's a very well-known line, the Milner-Barry gambit, which would be this position without the moves rook c8 and a3, and in the Milner-Barry white would just castle here, and black grab the pawn. So we have this gambit line with these two extra moves. Obviously rook c8 is much more useful than a3. So this gambit is simply not correct. I mean, it's not even correct without these moves, but in this kind of way, it is simply a pawn down for absolutely nothing. So white cannot castle. He really needs to do something on queen b6. He needs to do something about the d4 pawn, and he played bishop c2. In fact, this has been played a couple of times already, and here the main continuation for black actually was not played by Radjabov, surprisingly, really. But the main continuation in this position is, believe it or not, in case you don't know the line, you might be surprised, is g5. A move that maybe not instantly comes to mind. The idea is that this pawn simply threatens to attack the knight, and then black wins the d4 pawn for absolutely nothing, and e5 is a goner as well if d4 is taken. So oops, got a challenge here on ICC. So g5 with the idea of g4 attacking, but okay, this is obviously hanging this pawn, but white cannot really take it. I mean, this would just give away d4. Both captures are very good. I think maybe this is even stronger. So this is not playable, and bishop g5, queen b2 is also bad. The rook is hanging, and something like this is just a disaster. White center is crumbling. So g5 has a good idea. Oops. So g5. I'm sorry. And what white is playing is h3 in this position to stop g4. And this was not played in the game, but it's very essential to see this to understand what's happening in the game. Here, black then plays this knight sacrifice. Amazingly, white needs to recapture with the knight. Cannot go here because simply this is hanging. So this must be taken, and now bishop c5. Yeah, and the point is, if white now retreats the knight, let's say to f3, then black takes here, king to e2, and here black has the absolutely strong move bishop g3. And this is the whole idea of playing g5, provoking h3, so that you get this square here. This is actually already completely lost for white. For example, rook here, covering this, then black can smash on c2, and here it's amazing. White is totally lost. Queen here, bishop b5, and it's very, very expensive, this this bishop b5 for white. So it's a very tactical kind of line where bishop g3 is an important point. So now keep this in mind, and we return to the game. In the game, Radjabov didn't play g5, instead he immediately took on d4. And this is really curious now. White recaptured, and Radjabov went bishop c5. This is very logical. If white would play now bishop e3, you would just take here, and it's pretty similar to the line I showed. G5, h3 is not a big difference. The difference is white now just played bishop b3 in the game, but what would happen if white would play here? This is really a bit mysterious about this game. I think, okay, black takes, king e2, and what now? Also, please note that if you say, okay, why king e2, why not here, that this is just losing the house. So you cannot go to f1. Alright, king e2, and in the similar position where the pawn is on g5 and the pawn on h3, so I can just, okay, this is nonsense here, but just to see the comparison, this would be the other position where black would play here and win, and black cannot play bishop g3, and obviously g5 doesn't make much sense here as well. So this would have been really interesting. What would happen in this position? Black can play similar as in the game, but the knight is just much better on f3 than it is on b3. And we can see in the game that the knight was really a liability on b3. So this position is very sharp. Black has sacked this piece for 2 pawns and has a strong attack, but it's not entirely clear. Black can even just continue developing here, and this way also covering b5 would have been a very interesting position. And of course, a bit of a mystery is why not g5 after all, as this is simply better for black instead of taking on d4. So a bit mysterious, this game. Okay, but let's check what was actually played. White played knight to b3, and this is, I think, a big mistake. You just need to go to f3. Here black gets a very nice position without any kind of risk. King e2, and now just developing with the idea of playing knight g4, possibly getting the pawn, and you simply still have this attack going. So white developed knight to g4, and now white played a4, trying to harass the queen and also covering b5, of course. It's always a very annoying check. Yeah, Radjabov played the funny move bishop g3. It's yeah, nice looking. He also could have played queen c7 with the idea of taking e5 with the queen. It's also, I think, a nice position. Maybe king f1 and something like this. Black will get a third pawn and still have a very nice position with the white's king being a constant cause of concern. So also queen c7 was good, but he played this flashy move bishop g3, which forced white to play queen d4. And here he made the practical decision, just exchanging and take the third pawn. Yeah, this is simply a very nice position for black. Just have a look at, I'll make a couple of moves. This kind of position. Black has got 3 healthy connected pawns. They will advance at some point. White's king is still a bit shaky, and white has no particular play. So it's better for black. It's not maybe a decisive advantage, but it's from a practical point of view, it's terrible to play. Black has a simple idea: just push the pawns, and white, yeah, white's idea is not so clear what he should do. So he developed a piece here, a6, rook c1, b5. Yeah, this is mostly designed to dislodge the knight from c3. Yeah, this is again a nice move, directly threatening on g3, winning a tempo here on the rook. And now after b4 you see that this knight is forced to move, and black gets a brilliant knight to e4. This is already I think hard to say for white, maybe already lost. Black's pieces coordinate very nicely, and now the pawns starting to roll. Yeah, threatening mate in 1, always nice. Rook b1, and now this very nice move, just a nice sacrifice here on c2. It's easy to calculate, admittedly. So white played b3 here even. If you would take it, then you've got bishop f5 check. And yeah, what should white do on king here? You just have the simple rook c8, and white needs to interpose material, and he's losing the house. This rook is hanging and everything. So he would actually need to go here in order not to lose the material, but then this is also quite nice. Already there are mates here. Very nice one. So I would need to go here, and yeah, it's a disaster. yeah, probably there's even a mate somewhere in here, but black just picks up all the material and wins easily. So in the game, he actually played b3. Yeah, black might have some flashy moves, but he just retreated back here to c8, and white simply cannot take here because this is checkmate in 2 moves and mate. So you're just 3 pawns up, as white cannot take the knight, and next move you just jump to c3 or back to c5, whatever, 3 pawns and the mating attack. So yeah, very nice attacking display here in the French, and I think it's always fascinated me, this kind of fact that in this position we would go simply once again back to the opening position. That black here, 94 was the game, that black flicks in these kind of moves to have this bishop g3 idea. This is always fascinated me when I had to look at this line years ago when I was still playing the French. This was part of my repertoire. So yeah, it's really curious that Radjabov didn't go for g5 but took immediately on d4. It proved to be very dangerous also, no doubt about it. Yeah, so nice attacking win here with the French. But if you play the French defense and you play some weaker opponents at times, you're also used to get another line, and this is featured in this game. Jakovenko bought 4 for the Russian team, playing an international master from Latvia, Samolinch. I hope pronunciation is halfway decent. He's rated about 2,400, so a huge rating gap again. And as I mentioned, you're bound to face one line, exactly this, the exchange variation. Yeah, Jakovenko didn't mind this, obviously, to get the exchange. He played the French also here. And of course the exchange French is a kind of, yeah, what can you say? It's not the most exciting line ever, but it's something you need to live with, and you need to simply use your fighting spirit to get something out of these positions. It's possible to win lots of games with black if you're just being very tough on your opponent, play on all positions and test him to the last bullet, so to say. It's really a matter of attitude, this kind of openings. It's also the Slav exchange, for instance. I'm sorry, I've got a slight cold. The Slav exchange is a similar line. I played the Slav for years and also got the Slav exchange often. And I can say that I've won almost all my games with black. You just need to play on and pose problems. Okay, so not so much talk. Let's look at the game. Yeah, the white player played knight f3, and here black has a couple of options already to steer the game out of complete symmetry. For instance, knight c6 is such a move, or bishop g4. But Jakovenko didn't even play one of those. He just played the most solid move, knight f6, bishop d3, bishop e7. White played h3, so very safe. Not bishop g4, please. Okay, it's playable for sure. Black just castled. Here white played a curious move. He played knight to c3, which is a bit uncommon in the exchange. Very often white would just play, let's say, okay, black castled, would just play castles as well. And but here, for example, there's a position I would like to show an idea. Just play c5 here. Why play a passive move like rook e8 or c6 or something? You can play c5 here and immediately getting a much more interesting position than you usually have in the exchange. I think black has a pretty decent game here. The isolated pawn is not much of a problem. In the game, you've got something similar. played knight c3, and immediately Jakovenko seizes the chance to play c5 to get a little bit of asymmetrical flair to the position. Here white captured and castled, so all very normal. Here Jakovenko plays an important move. He played h6. If you have the time to do that, it's often very useful in this kind of position to prevent the bishop g5 pin here. So bishop f4 white played, it's all very, very logical. And now knight c6. Played a3 just to be on the safe side. No bishop, knight b4 please. Bishop e6. Rook d2, queen d2, rook e8, rook fe1, rook c8, rook d1. So you might say, okay, this isn't an exciting game. Right, you're absolutely right. It is not an exciting game, but it shows that once in a while you need to just, he played a6 by the way, once in a while you simply don't get those kind of flashy, interesting positions, and still you need to play a game of chess and try to win this. And what you need to do is to find little ideas that might unsettle your opponent and provoke him into doing something harmful to his position. In this position here, black has no direct way of attack or any kind of great idea. You need to place those little annoying stings and try to make white play some mistake. We see that in this position where white has a really nice looking position, I mean it's got everything centralized and so on, where he played knight e5, which isn't so bad, but let's have a look what Jakovenko did here. He just exchanged and then played knight d7, attacking the bishop, so white of course doesn't want to concede the bishop pair. This would be very nice for black. He just retreated the bishop. And now knight b6. In fact, white is still perfectly okay, but you see that black now has an idea. Knight to c4, attacking the b2 pawn, and yes, somewhat making use of this slight weakening with b2 and a3. And this knight on c4 is quite an annoying piece, as you cannot play b3, then a3 would hang. So this is already something white needs to take care of. He played knight to e2, which prepares c3 and possibly this blockade. And now again a very interesting decision from Jakovenko. He played queen to g5, and this is also a very good move, I think. It's not great in terms of, in mathematical terms, that it does much harm to white's position, but it's quite good to play it because you don't have any negative side effects of this move, and maybe white needs to exchange or wants to exchange even on g5, and this would help black to some extent. So it's a move that doesn't do anything bad to your position, but maybe provokes white in doing something bad. There's also the added bonus if white would now play knight f4. You have this typical trick, and black wins material. Okay, oops, it wasn't so easy. Hit the wrong button there. So this position we talk about, queen g5. In the game, white played c3, and now the mentioned knight c4. And you see, b2 is the point of attack. How should white react here? Yeah, he felt provoked to exchange queens and takes. And now black has got this double pawn. Very often I hear people say, okay, I've got a double pawn, I've got a weakness. Of course, in this kind of position, this isn't a weakness but a huge strength, this double pawn. It controls squares, especially the f4 square, and gains space. So double pawn is not a problem at all. White played knight b4, no, sorry, he captured on c4, and there's hardly a choice as b2 was hanging, so he captured. And now you see, black's got the bishop pair. This provocation of putting the knight on c4 netted black the bishop pair, and now this position is simply better for black. It's not so easy to tell if it is already a clear advantage or just a slight advantage, but black's is firmly in the driver's seat here, and white must be very careful to not lose quickly. In fact, in the game we see what happens. Knight d4, bishop d7. Of course you must keep your bishop. He exchanged one pair of rooks and now played knight to f3. An alternative here, of course, was king to f1 and something like this, after which black still enjoys an advantage, huh? But I think it's a bit more difficult to convert this than in the game. You simply have two bishops. In the game it was slightly different. White played knight f3, and now the idea, of course, was this double attack, but black can just play bishop c6. This pawn is not a problem. If white would take now, which he didn't, then black would enter on the second rank, and b2 is hanging. It's rather tricky for white. He cannot play here, obviously, because of this move. I mean, it's not losing a piece, but if you look at this, oops, black will win those pawns and win on the queen side. So you cannot oppose on the second rank. This move, oops, fading to this as I showed. So what should white do? You don't have much. You need to play something like this, and here also black is just better here on the queen side. It's maybe a bit tougher than what was played in the game, but it was a choice between various bad lines. King f1 he played, and now the simple move f6. Note that these pawns are very nicely restricting white's pieces. So this is the advantage of this double pawn formation, which was created by this slightly provocative move queen g5. Okay, so what did white do now? He tried to exchange further, and we see what happens. Bishop c7, king f7. Yeah, and now white okay, white has problems obviously already, but now he played the decisive mistake. He played rook d8, and now is the moment for good technical play, because with good technical play, yeah, black now wins instantly. And yeah, Jakovenko gets very good at techniques, obviously, so he found this easily. Just exchanged the rooks, and now very important, he just took the bishop. With the bishop the knight on f3, and this is a very important aspect of the bishop pair, obviously. And if there's a good opportunity, you can easily exchange one of them and transpose into a good bishop's endgame. A good endgame is in fact yeah, a bit of an understatement here. Black is just winning in this endgame. It's not even better or something, it's just winning, and this is because of this pawn formation mostly. These pawns are all on dark squares, and black has got this kind of idea, attacking the pawns, and of course this is also not great. Another point of attack is f2. Basically all white pawns are weak, as you see. I've marked them all and this is not tenable anymore for white. Played bishop c7, king here, bishop retreats, and now again a strong, not difficult move, but strong move, bishop to d6. Yeah, of course you need to calculate the king and pawn endgame, but this is rather simple, because as you look here, you're threatening this kind of attack, king e3, something like this, and now white is in Zugzwang. He can play this pair of moves, but now black will enter on f4 and win the whole king side. This kind of stuff you can try, but it's still winning. Black will invade or push the g-pawn. So this king and pawn endgame is simply won because of the weaknesses and all the reserve moves that black has. Black has got these kind of reserve moves, and white only has got one move of this kind, the a-pawn move. So the exchange is just losing. He tried h4, but this is yeah, well, just a matter of yeah, the kind of death you choose here. h4, black just took, and now this move, and you see this idea comes into play. king e2, bishop c1, and black snatched the b2 weakness, king d2, and yeah, we're already very near to the end of the game. King d2, bishop a3, king here, bishop c5 check, attacking also this pawn still, and in this position white resigned, as you of course the exchange of bishop just is a losing king and pawn endgame, and after bishop g3, bishop f6, you win the pawn on c3, and it's a very simple endgame. So I wanted to show this game not because it is so spectacular or flashy, but you need to just be aware of you don't have those kind of flashy games all the time. Sometimes you need to work with little things, and here I think it's very nicely shown that this maneuver here of the knight, oops, I cannot make any annotations. This knight maneuver at the end netted black the bishop pair, and this was the first step to victory here, that you get some kind of imbalance and something to play for. And the second very important move, I think, was this queen g5 idea that gave black this good pawn structure on the king side. So certainly white could have defended better and everything, but it just showed that you can also win in those rather dry positions of the exchange variation if you just be tough and play on, set your opponent little problems, little traps, and you have chances to win. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video showing two sides of the French defense, and also this little endgame fragment from Kramnik Shirov. Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow with a new game of the day video. Until then, bye.